Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Karl Walcott about Season 7 of Riverdale on the CW. Welcome to the show, man. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I mean, it's crazy because I feel like the mindset from an acting perspective, joining a show that already has kind of like characters and storylines established, I feel like that's always going to be overwhelming. Was that the case when you kind of joined this show specifically?
Yeah, well, it was at the beginning, but now I'm not a newbie anymore. But at the beginning, it certainly was overwhelming. It's like, a hockey guy going into a new team, you know what I mean?
Exactly. That's a good example for sure. What can you tell me about like the audition process specifically for Riverdale? Like the character that you played, did you audition for that character? Was it kind of a bunch? Like what was that like for you specifically?
Just a tape. They sent me Faye Walker. The audition I did was a self-tape from home, and I sent it in, and a week later they called me and said, I got it.
And yeah, I mean, there's a lot more before that too. You're preparing for everything, right? Or like,
yeah.
You make it sound so easy.
Yeah, they just sent me the breakdown, and that was it. I mean, I've done so many auditions, so it's like a regular thing I do. It's like a preparation, then do the tape, and then you send it in. And you just hope for the best. Most of the time, I say 99% of the time it's a no, so I was surprised that it would be yes.
I mean, it's funny you say that because I think people don't realize, like from an acting perspective, because I have a lot of friends that are actors as well, like your job is auditioning, basically.
100%.
Like that's what you do. You're a professional auditioner. And then it's kind of like, and then when you book something, that's kind of like the time to breathe, right? The vacation time almost.
Exactly, and that's it. That's exactly it. So it's such a habit that you don't even think about it anymore. You just send it in. You just do it and send it in.
A lot of your first kind of projects, were they in the Montreal area specifically, like acting perspective?
Yes,
Okay.
Definitely. The first 11 years of my career have been in Montreal. And
was it Francophone stuff as well, or was it English? It was both?
Mostly French, French, but there was some English stuff there.
Yeah, absolutely. Was it on, I remember, like, Vrac TV? Was it Vrac? Did you have anything on that?
Vrac TV, Le Chalet.
Oh, man. It's going back now. I find it interesting, too, because with a show like Riverdale, I feel like, from an audience perspective, there's so much going on in regards to what it kind of looks like in set design and what kind of like these characters, like the world of Riverdale and everything. From you making it, what is that like? Because I know like you can't really, sometimes you're in the zone, it doesn't really feel much like you're part of something. Maybe you go back and watch Video Village, but what's that like specifically?
Can I give a hockey example?
Sure. Absolutely.
It's like making the show.
It's like making the intro. Yeah.
That's when I got onto set. The first thing I did was I called my brother Daniel and I said, Daniel, I made it to the NHL. For him to understand what I meant, because it was everything is gigantic.
Yeah.
It's humongous. It's a humongous set. So many people, so many more people than I was used to. The craft and the catering are freaking like top notch.
Yeah, I know.
Food. So much food. Trailers are insane, like amazing trailers. Everything is just much bigger and much more impressive, I'd say.
And did it feel like kind of New Kid on the Block when you kind of showed up? Because I feel like, a cast like that, they are going to kind of like welcome you in open arms in terms of you're getting thrown in the story and everything. Like, what was that like kind of joining, like the first couple of days of joining?
Okay, so when I started, they had only guaranteed a couple of episodes.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, I got to do my best. So I would say the pressure was always on.
Okay.
The pressure was always on. I got there first day. They were welcoming, but they're at their 7th season. So it's like,
yes,
it's just another day on the block. They're just chilling and doing what they have to do.
Yeah.
For me, it was definitely like, okay, how do I fit in? That was, I would have to say that the toughest adjustment was like, getting there and having to be like, okay, like I'm focused on my work, but this is a machine that's been working for 7 years. So how do I make what I have to bring to the table good enough to stay on the show as long as I can stay on it, you know?
Yeah, that's a really good example, I feel like. And did it almost also feel too like, because so much has happened in the seasons before you showed up, but like you're kind of really focused on your storyline and everything, but there's always going to be that interest, right, in the other storylines as well, right?
Of course. And you get there and you're like, okay, they have all these insides you're not a part of. They have stories you're not a part of. They have gags and jokes and stuff like that. And for me, it was just like being the rookie, literally, like the rookie.
Oh man, all the hockey references are coming out, man.
I have no choice. It's just how it is. That's where my background. So,
oh man,
get there and everything is all set up. Everybody's doing their stuff. Everybody's dialed in, and like I would say that I was so happy to be there and so grateful that I just took it all in the positive, super positive way. I honestly wish I could have been there seasons before.
Yep.
Like, would have been amazing, but this is what I got, and I'm really grateful I got it. But for sure, wish I was there earlier to have a better bond, I guess, with the cast.
What is your relationship with source material of a show? Like when you go on Riverdale, right? There's so much kind of these characters have been established and everything. There's like past source material to check out and everything. I feel like it depends on the project, but like, do you do research and go back and look at like the origins of these characters at all or something? Because I know that's a big thing too, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I went in, I looked, like when I auditioned for Clay Walker, I didn't really look, to be honest. I prepared my audition like I prepare any other audition. And I knew what Riverdale was because of its reputation. I had watched a few episodes and I knew the tone of the show, and I knew that it resembled stuff that I had already done, like Le Chalet, for example. It's similar, like teen, young adult. So I was like, okay, I'm familiar with this. When I got the gig, though, I had a week. So I went in overdrive of preparation. When they confirmed me on the show after my audition, I was like, okay, let's get prepared. So the week before starting, I was like watching episodes, finding out who Clay Walker was from the comic books, finding out who my colleagues were really deeper, like Casey Cott, finding out who he was as an actor, finding out a little bit of his storyline and stuff, not getting too much because I thought to myself, Clay wouldn't know this stuff, you know? So I don't need to know all of his backstory because Clay doesn't know it. But just knowing who Casey was, researching that, and then coming on set, my first day, it was my audition scene. So that was a little bit of, honestly, that was, for me, it was like a few bricks off my shoulder.
It was like a safety net almost, right? Yeah.
It was, definitely, because I got there and they're like, okay, this is your first scene, and I see it, I'm like, okay, that's my audition scene. I'm prepared for it. I know what I'm doing. They booked me because of this, so it gives me a boost of confidence. And then I just delivered, and it was an amazing experience.
Yeah, that's incredible. And in the kind of world of like streaming and binging and everything kind of dropping at once, you're obviously on a show where episodes kind of come out every week and everything. What's that like for you and your family and friends with that kind of anticipation of like every week a new episode comes out? Compared to all the other ones where like on Netflix, everything just drops at once. Like there's something special and traditional about the week-to-week drops. I'm just saying.
I think you're 100% right. And the week-to-week drops, it's hard to keep a secret sometimes. Because you finish an episode and you're like, oh man, that was so fun. That was so cool. I did so many great things. And then you have to wait like 3 months before it airs. And it's like one by one they come out and you're like,
oh, it's always funny too because I'm like a big professional wrestling fan, and I always love the idea of like when they're doing shows, like they know in advance like if they're gonna lose the match or not, and they just literally they just go to lunch knowing like like excited for the show tomorrow. I'm gonna lose, but no one knows that.
That's hilarious. Yeah,
it's theater, right? It's scripted, right? Like it's
scripted, but then you're so excited you want to tell people, but you can't because you don't want to put it for them, and you have the family, everybody watches the show. Like tonight, there's an episode coming out, and then there's things that are going to come up, and you can't tell them because you don't want to root for them. You don't want them to know. So it's just like keeping it a secret as long as possible.
What has your experience been with the incredible Riverdale fans who are a global fan base? Like, it's probably been crazy on your end. Like, it's a very dedicated global fan base.
Yes, I think I haven't actually caught the full thing of what it actually is, but I definitely felt the wrath, like a wave of it. I felt a wave of it. I think it's a tsunami, and I just felt a wave. Yeah, because the show hasn't aired everywhere yet. No, it has on CW and in Canada on Netflix, but there's countries like and like South America that I don't know if they have it available to them yet.
And when they do, it's gonna hit like hard. That's the tsunami you're talking about.
I think so. So.
Well, no, like on Popternative, we do a lot of global stuff, and it's just crazy to see. Like, you know, we interview someone, and like they talk about how literally they get messages from from people from like 30 different countries that like watch their show. Like that's pretty wild to think about.
And the wildest part is that when I was from last year in Quebec, I planned to leave Quebec for a year to try out and be more international as an actor. Yeah. And I don't think I could have gotten a better show to do that for
me. Yeah, I agree with you.
I put it out there. I put it out there in the universe, and I just went. And I didn't know I was going to be on Riverdale. I just came to Vancouver, auditioned for many shows, and I landed on Riverdale. And it's been the best thing I could have been on, I think, to get me out there. Absolutely, man. No, for sure. And episodes, like you said, rolling out weekly. There's one tonight. Season 7 of Riverdale on the CW. It's the final season, which is crazy. Man, I remember when it was announced. Like I remember when like season 1 was announced, man. It goes by fast. Definitely.
It does, man. Well, Karl, thank you so much for your time. It was so great chatting with you, man.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, merci beaucoup. Lâche pas, man. Lâche pas, mon gars.
Merci. Je savais pas que tu parlais français.
Yeah, absolutely. So episodes rolling out. Your Instagram account, if they just put Karl Walcott, they'll find it, right?
Yes.
Okay. And they can keep up to date with you on there and everything and new episodes.
Yeah,
and all that fun stuff. And awesome. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Karl Walcott and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.